Hi, and welcome to Immigrant Faith Stories. I'm very excited about today's episode because we're going to be talking to a friend of mine. And she's not just a dear friend to me, but our families are also friends. I met Lydia when I was living in LA through Bible Study Fellowship. She was the children's leader, and I was the group leader. And we just connected instantly. I felt drawn to her just kind and gentle spirit, and it was so easy to make friends with her. And I saw that she loved God, she loved his word. And we had she has two boys who are around the same age as my son Ryan. And so our families used to gather, whenever we could. And I just miss her because she moved to Austin, Texas, and that's where she lives right now. I'm happy to have her on this show, and I'm excited for her to share her story with you all because she is from Poland. Um, and okay, so I will let her talk about her story. Welcome, Lydia.
Thank you. Thank you, Mabel.
So, tell us about your childhood, or your life in Poland. What was it like?
Yeah, so I
A
grew
little,
up in a Catholic
stories.
background. My mom was more devoted Catholic than my dad. He was very open, I guess, to a lot of religions and people. And whenever I would ask him why wouldn't he go to church with us, he would say he had trouble with the priests. But he was always like very kind and generous and always like happy and always happy to help and stuff. Yeah, I grew up in a very small town, like with neighboring villages was like 4,000 people. Everybody knew each other. And when I was little, there was like this very strong sense of community. There was like a lot of social gatherings. We had a lot of festivals, and we would always gather at my grandma's and have meals and birthdays and celebrations together. So yeah, I remember my childhood as a very happy time.
And how many siblings did you have, or do you
I
have?
have one sister, younger
Okay.
sister.
So, what made you leave your nest and fly to another?
Yeah, so actually, when I was 11 years old, my dad died in a car accident. And I, I think like I had this personality like he had. Like I was very curious and open and wanted to experience a lot of stuff. So, and I was, I would say, courageous, like not afraid to go and experience things. After I finished high school, I really wanted to go somewhere where I could learn English, like speak fluently. And my plan was that I would learn English well, come back to Poland, get a good job, and study at the same time. My family was not very wealthy, so college was something not easy. Like you had to either study super hard and get scholarships, or you had to work and study. So I wasn't like super good with grades in school, so it made more sense for me to work and study than try to get scholarships. But yeah, so I went to America first to learn English after high school.
Okay. And did you come as a student, or did you come for work?
Yeah, I went as a exchange student, something that's called pair. I was taking care of kids while experiencing the culture and the language.
What were
Yeah.
your first impressions of American culture?
Uh, my first impression was like, yeah, I could sense the difference in culture, and everybody, like even strangers would talk to me, which I found that like, whoa, like we don't know each other. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I would just say like hi, and at that moment, that was basically all English I had. So yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I too used to find it, really strange that strangers whom we don't know, they would carry on conversations actually. Now I'm used to it, but when I look back,
Yeah.
that is something strange. Well, so tell us about your experience as an au pair and your first few years in America.
So that year, I was mainly focusing on learning English, which it was very tempting at the beginning to just hang out with Polish people because, like, I learned English throughout my school years in Poland, but it was so different. Like the accent and stuff. A lot of Americans had hard time understanding me at the beginning. So yeah, like first I would kind of hang out more with Polish people, but as some of my American friends start to compliment me that like I'm speaking English and stuff, like this courage started to grow, and I started to speak more and more and hang out. And as well, I guess coming to America from the movies, I learned that it's a country that accepts a lot of different religions. I mean, that was my idea when I came. Like, it's very tolerant towards all the religions, all the cultures. Um, yeah, that's what I perceived from all the movies that I've watched. Yeah, and I knew that all those religions are here because I just grew up in a very Catholic country, and also there is some Jehovah Witness, but that's all basically. There's, praise the Lord, more Christians now than when I was little, but basically that was my whole knowledge, and that was all I knew. And now I was like living first with this Lutheran family, then with Christian family. So I've been exposed to different religion and their views. And as well, at that time, I was a strong seeker um, of
Can
the
you
Lord.
can you explain that a little bit when you say you were a seeker? So what was going on in your heart and mind?
Yeah, so during that time, I kept asking God if He could reveal what is the truth about Him.
Mm.
Um, I think at around when I was 15, I started to question what is the true religion, and kind of wondering, like, oh, is it like Catholicism? Is it Buddhism? Then I was remembering somehow that Jesus was a Jew, and I was wondering like, oh, how do I get into that religion? And I guess all those questions eventually led me to like be praying and asking God, like, can you lead me to your truth, and like, what is it? How does it look like? And that's what I've been praying for a while I was in States and afterwards too.
So, how did you find answers to your questions? Like, take us through your journey of,
Okay.
discovering and finding your faith.
So yeah, while I was praying to find the truth, as well, like the first family I was nannying for, we didn't get along very well. So I decided to switch families, and I was prayerful. Like when I was switching, I was praying that the Lord would put family in me that would lead me closer to the truth. And it was very quick transition. Like I told the family I was working for that things weren't working out, and that I felt like they felt the same way, and that I would like to change the host family, and they were fine with it. And uh, meanwhile, I was praying, and very soon I was placed in a family that was Christian. It was a single mom, and she was Christian. And when I started working for her, like she was so kind and caring, and like straight away invited me into like every Bible reading that they were doing, and prayer that they were doing. And she kept saying to me like, now I'm like her daughter. And it was like really different experience, because I didn't grow up opening Bible. Like if we did, it was only during Christmas time, and it was just like the passage about from Luke, when Mary and Joseph were going to Bethlehem. And um, and yeah, like I guess I remember just reciting um, the Lord's Prayer when I was little. But like once I got older, we never prayed. And like the only thing we've done was like going to church weekly. Yeah, but there wasn't much prayer as a family. There was no Bible reading. Yeah, and I would as a teenager pick up Bible and read it, but I found it very confusing. So I don't know, there was just like this out of this world experience, that I remember it as, when we would sit together and she would read passages and would pray together. That impacted me quite a bit.
So tell us what happened after that. Where did you
So
move to, or how did you go to
yes,
Ireland? So, because I remember you spent some time in Ireland.
yeah. So as well, during that, I mean, I had a lot of friends from the world, of course. And so there was this friction of like wanting to go after God and his truth, but also holding on to the world and what I understood. And and not like as well fighting with like not wanting to be different than what I've been. So eventually, what I've done is I ran away from the family and from the program, and started to work as a housekeeper, like cleaning houses, and just basically hang out with my friends from the world, and and did a lot of sinning, that eventually just, yeah, the consequences of sin got to me, and I was left quite a bit depressed. And after all the sin stuff done, I just was convinced that God will send me to hell, that there is just no mercy for me anymore. Um, and and like I decided to go back to Poland and see what would happen if like the comfort of Polish grounds and family would would change things for me. I guess I was really down, but I still had some hope that there's something that will save me. And so I went back to Poland, tried to find a job, but the only jobs I could find were like very exhausting and not like fulfilling or satisfying. So eventually I decided to leave to Ireland, and as I decided to do that, I like the things went so fast. Like I applied, I received email, and it was again the same, like through Ampere, because I didn't have enough money to just go and try to get a job over there and stuff. So I decided to try to go over there and work again as a nanny. So I applied through different program. It was not as businessy. It was a little bit more free. And that same night, I received an email and from a family. The week after, they called me, and the month after that, I was in Ireland. And I guess I was kind of like reflecting more on my life and what's been going on. So when I got there, I again like started to pray more and asking God to transform me, to forgive me, to lead me to His truth. And when I started to pray, again, I had friends from the world and friends, God provided friends that were Christian, like very soon after I met missionaries, and became friends with them, and they did the Bible study for me. And at this moment, as I was reflecting on what happened in USA and what is happening in Ireland, I could recognize that my choices matter. And I told myself and God that I'm gonna hold on to those Christians because God is doing something, and I want that. I don't want what I've done. I don't want to repeat my foolish mistakes. And so I did. And a few months after, I told Jesus that I want Him to lead me and direct me and be the king and ruler of my life, and that I don't want to be in charge anymore, and that I'm very happy and much want Him to be in charge.
Wow.
So
Praise God.
yes.
Your story, it just makes me wonder at God's goodness, His faithfulness to us. And, for, like you said, you had a seeker's heart for someone who seeks and who wants to know the truth. God shows Himself and He reveals Himself, and we still have a choice, whether to accept that or not. And I'm so happy that you chose God, you chose to give your life to Him. And so I know that your relationship with your husband is also somehow linked with your time in Ireland.
Yeah.
You meet Lewis there.
Yeah. So Lewis was one of the missionaries, and so there was a group of Americans that were serving in Ireland, and like we all became friends, and we're doing lots of ministries together. And at some point later, I start to see Lewis a little bit more than before, and start to like him more and more, and became like started to pray about, because I didn't trust my choices of relationships. So I was asking God that He would guide me and direct me, and if the feelings that have been growing in my heart, that if that's not what He wants, that He would remove them and make that just go away. But it didn't, and eventually we start courtship and got engaged and got married. So yeah.
And did you guys get married in Ireland, or did you come back here and get married?
We got married actually in Poland and Ireland. So our legal marriage, our marriage certificate is Irish, but we flew to Poland to have our church marriage. And we had a friend who is a missionary in Poland who agreed to marry us, and it was really wonderful time. Yeah, my family got to hear a gospel and see the Jesus's light and all my Christian friends, so and see the difference. Yeah, and through my time in Ireland and friendships that I developed. Actually, my sister eventually gave her life to Christ, so it's huge blessing to have a family member.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially sister, to be a sister in Christ.
Yes, such a blessing.
Yes.
And so you followed Lewis to America. You guys moved to America to start a new life. And so, what kind of challenges did you face now as a newlywed and back in America? Was it easy, or was it difficult, or what was going on in your mind?
It was not easy. Yeah, we moved slowly to LA. So we first stayed a little bit with his parents. It was just a month. And then we just took whatever we had and stayed with some friends in Fullerton, if I remember correctly, the name of the town. They were so generous and such a great hosts. They are with the Lord now. Their names were the Nixes. Older couple, always smiling. Jesus's love was really visible in them. Such a generous hosts, spoiled us. But eventually, Lewis got work at a very good company. He wanted to work with film and film industry. He didn't get to do what he really wanted to do, but I think now, as I look back on our life, it was God's grace to us, and we've grown quite a bit. But yeah, what was difficult, LA is so huge, and I don't like big cities, and LA is a huge city. It was really hard to make friendships. It took a while, and even though after I made some friendships, they weren't super deep like I had in Ireland. So it was, I don't know, as well. I noticed this now that I look back. I saw this change in me. I became very judgmental and self-righteous, focus on good works, focus on looking good as a Christian. And And yeah, now I call it like wearing a mask, that I wasn't who God has made me. I was more putting not Jesus's righteousness, but some self-made thing. So yeah, it wasn't good. Um, like it was hard because I wasn't walking with the Lord the way I supposed to do, and humility and love. So yeah.
And how did your relationship with God? I mean, you're already mentioning to me some of the things that, God started working in your heart and transforming your perspective. And looking back now over the years until now, how has your relationship with God changed, or um, as a result of you moving here, or, just I know that you moved from LA to Austin,
Mhm.
and you're a mom of two kids. So all these experiences, how have they shaped your relationship with God?
Yeah. So yeah, throughout all the, like, the way I see it, from the moment the Lord has put breath in my lungs, He's been at work, and that didn't change with when I gave my life to Him. Like, it's not like, oh, you're all good now. I don't have to work um, and sanctify you. No, like even more so, because we're His. And so yeah, like I think like our move to Austin was like really shaking me and opening my eyes to the things I've been blind to, because I guess I wanted to be blind for some reason. Like I liked um, my life in some way. Um, I liked denying that I was judgmental and not loving in a lot of ways. Um, and and I liked, I guess, wearing the mask, but the Lord started to strip that away and showed me, like, no, this is not good for me. This is not loving. This is not um, shining for the Lord. And yeah, after we moved to Austin, there was just a lot going on. Like, we moved without work, and I assumed that the Lord is gonna bless us right away with a good job, that we're gonna buy a house and just like do all those amazing things for the Lord. But instead, it was really hard for a long time. Then my sister in Poland was going through really hard times that was affecting me emotionally, and not being able to fly over because we couldn't afford it, and like be there for her and help her. And um, like marriage being difficult. There's been like so many things that just overwhelmed me so much that I started to have a lot of anxiety, panic attacks, and eventually fell into deep depression, where I start to um, like hear a lot from the enemy, and it was constant, and it was hard to depict what was from the Lord and what wasn't. And it was really maddening time. um, and I think like today, as I'm sitting, I'm super thankful for this time, because I learned through this experience that I don't have control over my mind, and that's like um, amazing, like when you can't even control your own mind. And as I prayed and tried to understand all the things that were going on, the Lord made clear that He was with me, and He was going to like He was at work, and that I needed to trust Him and let go of the idol of control that I still fight with, and and um, and not depend on my understanding and my feelings, but just trust Him and depend on Him and what He has done on the cross, and His word. And as I start to choose those things, and um, holding on to the truth and rejecting what the enemy was pouring into my head, um, like it would be the enemy's voice would lessen and lessen and lessen. And I think that's the biggest thing as well that I've learned, like to um, um, see what is from the Lord and what isn't. Because I think, especially in this age, it's easy to make something from the Lord that it really isn't,
Yeah.
and go off wrong way.
Yeah. No, that's so true. And thanks for that reminder that we need discernment and wisdom, all these voices that are influencing us and
Yeah.
influencing our choices, even our patterns of thinking, to know what is the source of that voice, what is the source of that attitude. Is it from God or is it from something else? And yeah, so thank you for sharing that. And thank you, my friend, for just being so honest and so vulnerable with us, and talking about your journey as an immigrant, talking about your journey as a Christian. It has been such a blessing and privilege to talk to you and to hear your story. I feel encouraged and blessed, and I hope that those who watch this episode will also be encouraged to keep on trusting in God. Of course, we will go through dark times and we might go through a wilderness period, but He will see us through it. He is always with us, like you said. So, thank you for talking with me.
Oh, you're so welcome. It was my joy. It was so nice to see you.
Yeah, same here.
And yeah, and I'm just thankful for what the Lord has been doing in my life, um, and I know it's not only my life; it's everybody's life. We just gotta open our eyes to His work.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.